Welcome to this AgroLiquid Agronomics video. My name is John Leaf and I'm a regional agronomist for AgroLiquid for the Northeast region. Today I'm going to be discussing corn silage production and some of the things that you need to keep in mind as you plan a corn silage production program. Whether you produce corn, vegetables, fruits, or forages, you need to understand the goals of the operation. For example, there is more to growing sugar beets than just growing tons of beetroots. There is a sugar component that's a valuable part of that production process that actually is what the grower gets paid for. Forage quality production is no different. We need to remember that the goal of forage management is not just to produce high-yielding forages such as corn silage, but the final goal is really high-quality, high-yielding corn silage to be fed to livestock. Now, high quality will mean different things to different people, and it will depend a little bit on the type of livestock being fed and what the uses are for that livestock. But in general, we can think of high quality forages that have good palatability, adequate protein and energy, and minimal amounts of the characteristics that could be detrimental to the health and productivity of the livestock being fed. As with most crops, hybrid selection is vitally important for corn silage production. Silage hybrids have been developed to optimize the digestible starch levels in the corn kernels. Although most corn hybrids can be used for corn silage, the need to maximize feed performance makes it important for that grower to choose hybrids that are specifically developed for corn silage. In addition to hybrid selection, quality planting is key to successful establishment of corn silage. The same general considerations for field corn apply to silage corn as well. First, make sure your seed depth is correct based on the soil moisture and the temperature in your soils. Make sure that your down pressure and furrow closing pressure are such that it allows for uniform seed depth and good seed to soil contact. Use of planter-applied fertilizers, insecticides, and fungicides also help provide the best opportunity for those plants to get out of the ground and be healthy during that early part of their growing season. Now, moving on to nutrition specifically, many of the nutritional needs of corn silage are similar to that of corn grown for grain. However, there are some key differences that you need to keep in mind when developing a crop nutrition plan for corn silage. The first is the amount and timing of the nitrogen being applied. Silage corn typically takes about 10% more nitrogen than corn grown for grain for a comparable yield. If possible, try to keep that last 25 to 50 pounds of nitrogen to be applied later in the growing season, preferably near tassel emergence. That helps the corn stay greener going into the fall, which improves the stock quality characteristics required for good corn silage. Phosphorus nutrition needs in corn silage are very similar to grain corn. Potassium is required for silage corn just like for grain corn. However, remember that you're removing the entire plant, not just the grain from the field. So a 25-ton corn silage removes about 180 to 190 pounds of potash per acre. So fertilizer requirement may be higher for silage corn than for grain corn. And it's also important, though, not to over-fertilize potassium for corn silage. Although it's not as big of a luxury consumer of potassium as is alfalfa or other forage grasses, for example, it can accumulate potassium into the plant in more level than it needs for improved corn yield. So it's important to develop a multi-year corn production plan that takes into account the large amount of nutrients removed with silage corn production. Applying adequate potassium and phosphorus during that growing season provides the nutrition that's necessary for that crop, and then it helps mitigate any potassium or phosphorus deficiencies in subsequent crops. One other management item that needs to have close attention paid is that of managing insects and diseases. Since all the plant components are harvested and fed, it is critical that leaf and grain diseases be very aggressively managed. Feeding silage that has diseases or toxins in them can have a detrimental effect on the animals being fed, and we want to avoid that by keeping the plant as healthy as possible. So, in summary, corn silage production requires a thorough crop production plan that includes productive balanced soils, proper hybrid selection, proper nutrition, and excellent pest control. It is a multi-year process that takes into account what the crop needs are for the current season, as well as what's going to need to be addressed in the following years. I hope this information has been useful, and if you have any questions, please reach out to your AgroLiquid sales account manager, agronomist, or retail partner.